Thameslink train has just left Nunhead, heading south, next stop Crofton Park. I'm at a point, it's an Asaph Road, just near Nunhead, this junction, there's this bridge. The bridge goes over the current Thameslink tracks, but there's an old spur off here, and you can see, and we'll go to the Google 3D view maps earlier already, where there's a second archway on this bridge, because a second set of tracks came off at this point and headed south towards Crystal Palace high level station.
You may think that the sprawling network of railways in suburban South London is already quite extensive, but there used to be another line in here mixing it up amongst them. This is the Crystal Palace and South London Junction Railway that opened in 1865 to serve the Crystal Palace exhibition that had moved here from Hyde Park. Initially, just the new Crystal Palace high-level station was on the branch, but intermediate stations soon followed. The Crystal Palace exhibition itself was then later destroyed by fire in 1936, and when it did, passenger usage on the line started to decline. Damage to the line in the 1940s during World War II took its toll in terms of cost, and after continuing passenger decline, the line eventually closed in 1954. But with two tunnels still intact on the line, there's loads left that you can see today. You can follow the alignment of the old railway perfectly by starting at Bessingham Walk, where there's new housing with this long pathway down the middle that is exactly where the tracks used to be. The best bit here though is that where the line used to cross over Brockley Way, part of the old bridge abutment is still in place on one side, whilst you can clearly see the raised embankment on the other. There's a raised embankment too further down the line on Kelvington Road. That's the next very walkable part of the old line, which is very green and very lovely.
So I'm walking through Brenchley Gardens. The road is there, One Tree Hill actually, a famous little viewpoint in London, just up there. But I'm walking along the path of the old alignment here, and that will bring me out to Honour Oak Station.
Honour Oak Station was just off of Forest Hill Road and grabbed the name Honour Oak several years before a competitor's railway also built a station in the area on their line, meaning that they had to call theirs something else and went with Honour Oak Park. The name you'll be familiar with as it's the one that survives today.
So that location there was a bridge across the road which carried the railway, and the site of Honour Oak Station was here. It's now just an extremely modern build housing estate.
The Horniman Museum is the next place to go, where the line has very much been turned into a nature trail which you can walk along.
So we're at Forest Hill, the Horniman Museum, which is just there. It's called Forest Hill because it's on a hill, and there is a magnificent view of the city from the top if you go into the museum. But by the side of the museum is the Horniman Nature Trail, and as you can see here, this is the footpath, the alignment of the railway. It's marked on the map as well, at the end of which we get to the main road again, and that's where Lordship Lane Station was. Nothing there at all, but then it gets exciting as we head into the woods.
Sydenham Hill Woods to be precise, and you might have been expecting here a view from the bridge that are in these woods that used to go over the railway. It's where Impressionist painter Camille Pissarro once painted a famous view of Lordship Lane Station. However, the bridge is currently closed for maintenance, so you can't get onto it anymore. But don't worry, there is a brilliant thing to see here. In fact, it's the first of 4 of them. What is it, Jeff?
It's a tunnel.
This is the northern portal of Crescent Wood Tunnel, one of 2 tunnels that was constructed to allow the railway to be built through here. Both tunnels are nowadays fenced off with no access inside, but it's nice to be able to get up close to the entrances. In a future video in this series, we'll see how the tunnels on the Parkland Walk Railway have been turned over to be bat sanctuaries. That's not the case here, despite what the graffiti might suggest. In fact, we saw a different type of wildlife altogether. So this is Upper Sydenham Station, which is next. And yes, the original building that was the ticket office is still here. There's lots more to see, along with some original steps and even parts of the platform down at the track level down below. To get there, you walk down the path, and that takes you down to this side of the tunnel portal.
So we've come to the other side. Upper Sydenham Station is that building up above us. This is the tunnel. We're at the northern portal of the Crescentwood Tunnel. This is now the southern portal of the Crescentwood Tunnel. There are 2 tunnels on this stretch. We're about to get to the Paxton Tunnel, which is the one you get to immediately coming in or out of Crystal Palace high level station. I kind of prefer this one because you can get to both sides of these, and you can peer in and see what's inside as well.
Now, follow the path and walk south from here, and you'll get to High Level Drive. Hang on, High Level, is that a nod to the name of the Crystal Palace station, perhaps? You're heading for the northern portal of the Paxton Tunnel, but before you get there, you pass this. Yes, this innocuous concrete structure is actually a vent on the Bromley to Victoria line, which passes beneath your feet at this point in its own separate tunnel. But we're after our tunnel, and to see it, you get to this playground area here with a fence which you have to peer through. Ah, and there it is. It's the northern portal of the Paxton Tunnel, on the other side of which is Crystal Palace. I quite often drop to Google Maps 3D view to show you an overhead view to show you the footprint of where an old station was. I don't need to do this here because you can very clearly see in real life from this overbridge above, down in this cutting in this area, this whole huge area that's now been built in is the footprint of the original Crystal Palace high level station. If you walk down to the bottom, you get to this long wall. It's an absolute original, and it's amazing that you can get right up close to it. At the end of the road, very much in the shadow of Crystal Palace transmitter, is the portal to the Paxton Tunnel. This is where trains would have immediately entered upon departing the station. And then, just before we go, a final thought from me on abandoned railways. That is the end of this episode of London's Lost Railways. Yes, I'm back in the woods because it's more scenic here. There is a playlist, subscribe, all that good stuff if you're enjoying the series so far. A lot of people have said to me in the comments, Jeff, are you going to do some more abandoned railways outside of London? I'm not, and here's why. Because there's already a channel that does it. Paul and Rebecca Whitewick here are making videos as they visit every abandoned line and station in the whole country, and you should check out their channel if that's what you like. In fact, here they are to introduce themselves.
Okay, thank you. So that is us, Paul and Rebecca Whitewick. You can subscribe to our channel. Big thanks to Jeff and Vicky for having us along today and obviously giving us a little bit of promo there. That's exactly what we do. We cover old lost railways, abandoned railways, old canals, old roads and old routes, mainly railways though.
All over the country.
Indeed, all over the country.
Go over to their channel now to watch their video of the day of the Crystal Palace High Level Railway and press subscribe whilst you're there too. And don't forget to watch the whole playlist here on my channel for every episode of London's Lost Railways. There's still a couple more to come.